All right, for this one, we're going to move on to a rectangular prism looking at the surface area. Okay, surface area is not volume. It is area, which is two-dimensional. I know, how can that be with a 3D shape? Well, it's actually the area on the surface all the way around the shape. And apologies, you can see my 3D shape here is not fantastic. I printed one off that someone else made and cut it out, and they didn't match up. So apologies for my misshapen rectangular prism here, but just imagine that it's perfectly made, okay, and my sides touch. All right, so on this rectangular prism, we want to look and see which sides are going to be the same and which ones are going to be different. So the top and the bottom of my rectangular prism, okay, if this was made well, are the same. Okay, so I have the top and the bottom, two sides that are the same. Now, the front and the back here, these two opposite sides, like this, they are also the same. So this one here and then this side here are also going to be the same. And my end pieces are also the same shape and area. Okay, so this R2, I've labeled them R2. All right, let's unfold this to see what we've got. So if we unfold our shape here, we have our top and bottom like R1, right? These are the same rectangle. R3, these are also the same. These are my sides, or my front and back, sorry. And then my end pieces are my R2, they're the same. The reason this is important is because when we go to find area, we're going to have 3 rectangles to find the area for, and then we're going to multiply them by 2. So I'm going to find this area, and since there's 2, I'm going to multiply it by 2. Find this area, multiply it by 2. Find this area, multiply it by 2. And that's going to give us our surface area. Okay, so let's have a look at this picture and see if we can piece this together in a formula. Okay, so SA, that's what we write for surface area rather than A. Now let's look at our, let's say our front and back. So this one here and then this opposite side over there on that other side. Okay, let me put an arrow. These two sides. That's my first rectangle. Now, the area of a rectangle is the length times the width, right? But we're not going to use this W because that's the width across the bottom. I actually need to use this width, which we have labeled as H, all right? So I'm sorry, I should have said this is the length. We've got the width, and then we're going to have the height. So this front and back rectangle are, there's 2 of them, right? Length times the height. Length times the height. Okay, now let's add the other 2. Let's do the top one, right, which is up here, and the bottom one, which is down here. These are the same. Now for that rectangle, this length here is the same as this one, right? So that's L. Sorry, there's 2 of them, so I'm going to go ahead and put that 2 in. It's going to be L, and then the width is this right here. Well, if we look at matches up with this, that's W. Okay, and the last is our end cap, our end pieces on either side. So this one here, the length is actually W. Again, we have 2 of them, right? So we're going to do 2W, and then the width is labeled as H. And I hope that's not confusing with the length and the width being a little bit different, but we just have to think about it in terms of these 3. All right, because we can't put LW, 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 because that's not the same for all 3 rectangles. Okay, so now we can go ahead and plug it in. So let's solve it for this one and see what we get. So we have 2 times our length is 8 times our height, which is 5, plus 2 times our length, which is 8, times our width, which is 4. Forgot that. 2 times our width, which is 4, times the height, which is 5. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, with our order of operations, it tells us to do multiplication left to right before we do any addition. Okay, so we're not going to be adding anything yet. We have to multiply these 3 terms first. So it's easy to multiply by 2, so I'm going to do the 8 times 5 and then double it. Okay, 8 times 5 is 40. 40 times 2 is 80. Okay, the same here. I'm going to leave the doubling for the end because that's easy. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. So let's go ahead and add these together. I can add in any order I want to, well, because they're all positive, but let's go ahead and follow our order of operation instructions, and that tells us to add left to right. Okay, so 80 plus 40. Let's go ahead. Let's just do a side math problem over here, so I'm not doing too much mental math that makes it confusing. 6 and 8 is 14. That's 144 plus 40. Okay, that we can do mental math, right? 144 plus 40. My 4 and my 4 are going to add, and that's going to make 84. Now I'm done with my number part. I need to look back and see what my units are. We had inches. And again, we're still doing area, so it's inches squared. We have not done volume, even though it's 3D. We're not doing cubed. We're still doing area, which is squared. All right, let's do one more example. This rectangular prism is standing up a different way, but we're still going to use the same formula. All right, here's our formula up here. Let's go ahead and copy that down. I'm going to write it here, give myself lots of space. Equals 2 length times height plus 2 length times width plus 2 width times height. Okay, now before I can plug it in and use any of this, I have to label my sides. What's length, what's width, what's height. It does not matter. It does not matter where you put the L, the W, or the H, as long as you put it and you keep it there and you don't change it around. Okay, I like to just do the bottom here. I'd like to call it L. I like to call this one right here W, and I like to call the top part H. That's just personal preference. Honestly, it does not matter. Okay, as long as you label it and then you plug it in as you've labeled it, you will get the same answer no matter what. Okay, so let's go ahead and substitute. 2 times my length, which is 3, and my height, which is 12, plus 2 times my length times my width, which is 2, plus 2 times my width times my height. Okay, again, order of operations tells me I have to do the multiplication first before I do any addition, and it tells me to move left to right. Okay, so let's do it here. Again, I'm going to double at the end, right? 3 times 12 is 36. 36 times 2 is 72. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. All right, and now I'm going to add these three together. 72 plus 12, well, 70 plus 10 is 80, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So that's going to give me 84, and I need to add that to 48. I'll go ahead and write that over here on the side so we can see what's happening. 4 plus 8 is 12, carry the 1. That will be 9, plus 4 is 13. 132, but I'm not done because I need my units. Okay, so I'm going to look back up here. This time I have centimeters. Because I have area, it's centimeters squared. All right, and that is how we can find the surface area of a rectangular prism.